I mean, they were, a well-educated, well-brought-up girl, and
nice girl.
a nice girl. But so when did what was the path into drugs? What kind of path did you take? How did it start?
Well, I've got to say, actually, that's one of the reasons why I was very nervous about them making cannabis a Class C drug, because my first route into drugs was via cannabis, and I've spoken to lots of other reformed addicts, and often they say the same thing, and I think it's such Russian roulette with drugs. Like, some people might smoke a joint and never have another drug again, and other people might smoke a joint and end up dead sort of 2 years later. So drugs are bad, I think, in any shape or form, because they're, you don't know whether you're an addict or whether it's in you. And I had a sort of family history with my mum being an alcoholic and everything, that I had a propensity to it, and I had to be very careful. And it started, youngish. I mean, smoking cigarettes, the odd one, every now and again, 12, 13. Yeah. Then, first foray into sort of drugs at sort of 15, 16. Nobody obviously ever knew about it. I'd do it all in secret, or I'd, bump into somebody, say, in Paris, when I go over there on holiday, so nobody in England would know. But you know what I mean? I had these kind of two lives.
What kind of drugs were you on in the end?
In the end, I ended up on heroin and cocaine.
Heroin, it's true. I mean, that's heavy duty, isn't it? Oh.
I mean, the other thing is that I never injected heroin, and for a long time it made me sort of think that was okay, and that I had a job, and that I, kept my job together, and I, on the face of it, I was kind of trying to pretend that everything was okay, but at the end of the day, heroin catches up with you, and even if you think you've got it under control for a year or 2 years, in the end it'll become a daily habit, and that's when I got into big trouble.
I mean, it's when you start into heroin. I mean, that's all these drugs are highly addictive. But they do say that once you take heroin, and what they say is once you inject heroin, that's the beginning of the end. That, you can actually count the days from that point on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fortunate enough that I never tried crack cocaine, but I've heard that's, the worst of the worst of the worst. Yes. Obviously, heroin, I think, is a very powerful drug, and I mean, I almost sometimes don't even like talking about it, because I think if I talk about it in the public domain, I don't want people to look at me and go, well, she did it, and look, she's all right. Do you know what I'm saying? So I get nervous about it, because I think, what can I say to people? I don't want to lie to people and say it's going to kill them the day they take it, but all I can say is that the minute you take it, you're on a slippery slope, so just don't bother starting.
But what took you off the slippery slope? I mean, what made you decide, no, I'm going to stop?
Do you know, I think it's down to my grandmother and the morals that she gave me, because I still had morals. I still felt that I would never steal to support my habit. I had to kind of, keep up this front. And eventually I couldn't keep the front up anymore. And I remember I was I'd been away, it's quite a long story, but I'd been away for 2 months trying to get clean. And I went to stay with my mother, and she was living in Morocco at the time, for a month. And I weaned myself off the heroin, and then I had a month in Florida with some girlfriends, and I was totally clean, and I felt fantastic, and I thought, this is it. I've cracked it. I've never felt so good. I must never, ever touch heroin again. That's gone from my life forever. And I came back to England, and I went out partying, and somebody offered me a line of Coke, and I thought, well, just one. I haven't had any for ages. And, for me, I can't have one of anything. I'm just like that. I have to have like more. I'm the same with chocolate biscuits. And so I had this one line, and 2 days later, I had somebody trying to throw me out of their flat, because they were like, you've got to go home. You've been up for 2 nights, and I really want you to leave. And I just thought, oh God, I've got to go outside and face reality. Suddenly it just dawned on me, I don't want anybody to see me. And it's that feeling of self-loathing that I'd gone down to really the bottom. I was supposed to pick up my sister from school the day before. She was 10 or 11, and I'd forgotten. She'd had to make her own way home. I was just letting people down. I just felt awful about myself, and that's when I changed.
Knowing yourself as well as you do, then it's a daily battle, isn't it, in a sense of saying, no, I ain't going to do this.
I am an addict.
Precisely, you can't assume that you're cured at all.
Yeah, I'm still an addict.
You're a very busy addict, aren't you, at present?
I'm a busy addict.
I mean, you're doing just about everything.